I'm glad I'm practicing this. Like everything, you've got to practice, right? So, all right, here we go. So, like I said, I'm kind of experimenting with new technology um, to get this all working. And yeah, so welcome. All right, my brain is a little bit crazy. If you want to leave comments or to do a little chat, I will be looking over at the chat box now and then during my practice session. So it'll probably be in between chunks of practicing, but if you do have any questions about what I'm doing, by all means, I'd love for you to pipe in and to let me know what you're thinking. All right, so I think without further ado, I'm going to start. If somebody is watching and you do feel like chiming in about the fact that you can actually hear me and that type of thing, I'd be grateful. So with that said, here I go. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to work first on a piece by Germaine Taillefer, and it's her impromptu, available on IMSLP in case you fall in love with this piece. I worked on it quite a bit yesterday. It went pretty well. So I'm kind of reviewing how it went yesterday. I'm going to start with the middle section because in the middle section I worked on some interpretive decisions that I wanted to make. So that's what I'm going to start with first, to refresh my memory about that. In the middle section, it goes to G sharp minor and it basically repeats the same material twice. So I don't want the two statements to be exactly the same. So that's what I was working on. Can you lay down, Churro? So I'm going to do it under tempo because this is also my warm-up. Churro, can you be quiet? So that just gave me an idea. So one thing I decided was to crescendo through those last measures. So I think I actually need to be maybe not get quite as large in the fifth measure. So I'm going to try that again. And then this is the beginning of the second statement. It's repeat of before. Now I think I'm going to build up more to that top note. So now this is the high point. And then everything's going to come back down. Do that again. but a little bit more closer up to tempo. But trying to preserve that same musical structure, arch. Which I just didn't do. I really love that line, so it's kind of hard. All right, right in a Q. I think that last measure is actually where I can pull away. Okay, I felt like because I was doing it a little bit on the fast side, my brain wasn't completely in control of my musical intent. So I'm going to pull back the tempo just a little bit again. See if I can make that a little bit more convincing to myself. I think that was incorrect. It goes to stays on the A sharp. Yeah, the rest of it wasn't so bad though. That worked fairly well. But what I decided is I really need to, I'm gonna have to think about that in my head and hear it in my head a bit in order for it to really coalesce. All right, so moving on to a different section. Oh, I know what I need to do. I want to make sure I can do the transition, or I know musically what I want to do with the transition between the first section and the second section, which I just did. So it really ends beautifully, pianissimo. So my question is, do I launch right into a new sound, or is it going to morph a little bit more? I don't know, or evolve. Actually, if I do the morphing thing, it actually makes it a little bit easier to do what I worked out musically a few minutes ago. But let me try the other option that I have. I keep missing that. Okay, let's figure that out first. I think my elbow's not coming over quite enough. options working. And I like that because that means if I get to the performance and the beginning of that passage, it doesn't matter whether or not the piano speaks or doesn't speak or is too loud, I have a way to continue on in a musical way that makes sense and feels good. Whatever. Okay. I want to now compare a couple passages that are very similar that I often get mixed up. So the first one is right at the beginning. The melody stays very close. It's stepwise. And the left hand just moves up by diminished arpeggiation. Then the next one is true. The next phrase is completely different because it goes up the octave. Okay, so I'm going to contrast those again. Try to make that smoother. So I'm doing it under tempo. I'm also trying to memorize it. Yay. Okay, that felt really good. The next one that's similar, and actually this one is exactly like the first one at the beginning, so this one's really important. The first time it goes up stepwise. Second time jumps up the third. And then it adds another one. It extends the phrase. The left hand starts the same, but then just goes up a step. Yeah. So what this is called, I call this working on my narration. So it's really developing my narration even more so I know what's going on. So my brain is dictating and directing what I do. And I'm not reading note by note. Starts with this G sharp, just realized. I want to practice this passage, add a beat, that's what I call it, just to solidify it a little bit more. And I'm going to do it hopefully by memory more. do that one again. Yeah, that was better. More confident. Back up, and I'm going to do that in context, try to get it more up to tempo. That's not a good place to start. Let's start where it really starts. Almost. I'm not going to do it by memory right now. I tried my musical version or interpretation of starting that second section soft, and I determined that I wasn't so crazy about that. But I'll keep testing them out and seeing what I like better. Okay, then there's another passage on the third page that's a little hairy, so I'm going to look at that now. I'm going to start right at the tangly spot. It's an issue of hand distribution, so I need to make sure I know what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's this. So that pattern stays the same in the inner voice for a couple beats. One, and then it changes. I think before I haven't known exactly where it changes, and so that's what I needed to solidify. Okay, so now let me back up and work it in context. That almost like happened without me thinking. That was weird. Okay, before I move on, no, I should do it one more time. Make sure. so that felt, what I was looking for was a feeling of confidence, and I had it for the second time in a row. So if I had more time, I'd do it a third time. But I realized I have a question about this measure. D sharp, sustained. Okay. Sometimes I forget that in the recap, in the return, this D carries in the alto. Which is a lovely touch. It's still there. Still there. Interesting. Yeah, so that D natural, which is the 7th of that E major chord, kind of hangs out and really gives this great, or it helps it to not feel settled for like a longer period of time, and I think that's intriguing. So I want to make sure that it can be heard. That might be too much, I don't know. Much of a big deal to make of the D natural. You know, I can say, well, it's there. People are going to hear it. It's going to do its thing. How much do I show that that's happening? I don't know. So I'll have to experiment with that. And I'm going to write D natural question mark. Just as a reminder to me to have that be another thing for me to be kind of playing around with as I'm continuing to work on this. All right, I think, again, I said this yesterday in my live stream, that I do practice performances. I try not to do them very much during any one given practice session, but I think because I have a recital next Thursday, I'm going to go ahead and do a practice performance because I want to make sure that, sorry, I'm looking for my power chord. I think I'll be okay, but I want to make sure that I have something I can listen to evaluate my pieces before my performance. I did not drink enough tea this morning. The words aren't coming. All right, so here's a practice performance, Hi Churro, of Germaine Taillefer's Impromptu. So in a practice performance, just play it through. I'm not gonna worry about the notes so much. Obviously, I'm gonna try to do them correctly, but the most important part is the musicality, the phrasing. Cheryl, can you go lay down, please? Go lay down. Show calm. Okay, so, oh, my watch. Yeah, so my feedback on that was this. I had some mind games going on for myself during that time, which is normal, and that's why, in a way, practice performing is good, because that's going to happen in performance. So I had to keep going and keep myself on track. My other observation was that I had made a lot of fresh decisions musically during that previous practice session. And what I was reminding myself to try to give myself a pep talk during that when things weren't going quite as right was that it's really hard for my brain, at least, to assimilate things that quickly and to do a practice performance right afterwards and to have the expectation that that work is going to carry through immediately. So I really need some distance. So that's what I was telling myself. Okay, I think now I'm going to work on some of Margaret Bonds' Troubled Water, which is a fantastic arrangement of the of Wade in the Water. And there's a lot of tricky licks in here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to review the tricky parts, and then I am going to play sections because I've done so much spot checking of this piece that I think I sometimes lose track of the overall picture and the overall architecture of it. So first I'm going to do spot checks, and I'm going to start from the back because the other day I started from the front, and I like to always switch what I do if I start from the beginning or the end, because usually by the end of a given part of a practice session I'm tired. So I like to come at it both directions at different times. All right, so I want to quickly review a section that shouldn't be hard, but it is nonetheless. It's the very end. So I'm working on my narration. True. Very simple. So it just goes down to 7th chord. But for me, it's when I add in the bottom chords that I get thrown off for some reason. So I'm using my brain and my narration to guide me, and that's why I have to do it a little bit extra slow. Then I'll read those bottom chords. And what I realized in that round is that this, the third measure, that chord is amazing. So I want to really go towards that chord. Too much pedal. Let's try to thin it. That was better. Okay, up to tempo. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, backing up. Oh, this passage gives me nightmares. Oh, I should be positive. I shouldn't be negative. Okay. It's just all over the place. So I haven't really found the best way to address it. I keep going at it at different angles, and it's getting better and better, but. I'm trying to memorize as much as I can. I don't like memorizing. Ah. That was pretty good. That is good. Churro, is that quiet? No. Yeah, what can happen is to feel that each one is a different gesture. I don't have time for that. That's good. Yeah. I'll just stop there. See you later. That was not as confident. So another thing I like to do in a really complicated passage that gets me a little bit tied up in knots, psychologically and physically, is I like to find as many places as I can to acknowledge, these measures here are not quite as hard. Because if you can find measures of respite in the middle of a really tough passage, you know you have some islands of safety. So I just came to one. Maybe not. No, it's okay. Even this measure, so I spoke too soon. No. So my hypothesis is that I have 4 measures about that are a little easier. Let's do them a little bit under tempo to make sure that's true. Actually, in this experiment, what I'm realizing is that it's maybe not so bad. It's really just the first couple measures that are bad. I shouldn't say bad, should I? Harder. Help if I read the music. Then I'm fine. So yeah, that's not so bad. So how do I deal with this? So if I just got an idea. All right, so if I approach the first 2 measures that are the most difficult, it says allargando in those 2 measures. So if I do those allargando, then I know that I'm going to catch up time in the measures coming up because it's not as hard. That could be good. So if I know I only have a couple measures of scariness, I should be able to cope better. So I'm trying to do the transition now into that. gonna work. The measures, 2 measures preceding the tricky 2 measures is also a little tricky. I think it's largely because I haven't been practicing it. I do have it marked though, so that's good. Okay, now I have another idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to move on for now, and then I will probably come back. So another hard section. I realized the other day that tweaking my narration helps with this one too. So got a low E, no problem, in the left hand, but then so it's E, B, E, B, E. Great, and then it happens again, but it starts on G, but then back to the outline of the E minor chord. And because it started higher, it doesn't go as low because the run is the exact same length of time. Tempting to go so the first one ends on an E, the second one E. Okay, let's go into it. I'm going to do hands together. It's okay. Okay, so same philosophy applies. This is a really tangly section and I get a little bit nerved up about it. So what I want to do is acknowledge which measures aren't as hard, which is really just one of them. So the last of the 4, this one, as soon as I hit this chord, I know where I am. More or less. Actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a measure but going backwards, starting with this anchor one that feels good. So that feels good. I'm acknowledging that. Yay, celebrate. Now back up. Me. One more time for confidence sake. Great. Now back up a measure. pretty good. I think with most of these measures, if I can get that second chord of the measure in the left hand, that tends to give me a good orientation of where I should be. So I can maybe let go a little bit of nerves. Yeah, okay, back up one measure. That felt really good. And one thing I noticed, when I'm doing more repetitions, one thing I like to do is I like to try to find hidden lines that I can bring out to make it more interesting. So I did realize there's a scale going down in the left hand, albeit chromatic. Sing here. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Last hard passage. So my brain's getting tired. What time is it? Yes. No wonder. Trying to play this passage too fast. I just realized that because this is very interesting. And this is still very dreamy. 1, 2, 3, 2. See, that's not as fast as I thought it needed to be. Now, I want to go back and review the hardest passage that was from before, because it's really good to do that. I can't remember what that's called, what type of practicing. I think it's blocked practice? No. Anyway, it's where you go back to a passage you've done previously, because when you've been doing repetitions one after the other, your brain and your body, your motor stuff, has stored a lot of the stuff in its short-term memory. So now that's out of my short-term memory. I've been working on something else, so I'm coming back. It's no longer in my short-term memory, most likely, so I need to reactivate, get it back into my short-term memory. So it's producing more information that can then be processed later. That's a lot of words. So first, remind myself of what I'm doing. I'm going to take more time on the first two measures because those are the hardest. Then go ahead and I can flex the tempo a bit. Not bad. I do want to get into it though. I don't want to start right on it. Okay, one more time. So could you tell that my brain got a little bit stalled in a couple of those tricky spots that I had gotten to be pretty good previously? So do it again. I need to be thinking ahead a little bit more and not relying on my motor, my short-term memory. I'm going to learn from my earlier lesson from this session. I'm not going to practice performance this right now because, why? Because I just worked on it hard, and so it's not going to probably go so well. So I'm going to let it ferment a little bit. And I am going to practice perform Monozuka, and then I will be done for the morning. Yay! Well, at least be done live streaming, let me put it that way. All right, so this is Monozuka's prelude. This will be a good way to see where we are and to assess what I need to do later. All right, my feedback. Not bad. I know this passage I got locked up on, so that was good to know. I need to look at that a little bit more. But for the most part, I liked the tempo. I think there were some good things about it. So That's good. I was tired, and so it's good to do that when I'm tired, because in a performance, you're gonna get tired. All right, that is all for today. I thank you for joining me. I hope this worked. I have no idea if it worked. We'll find out. Have a good one.